Imagine a food so valuable that entire desert civilizations depended on it for survival. Yet, within a few generations, it was cut down, burned, and treated as little more than a nuisance. It sounds impossible. After all, if a plant could provide natural sweetness, survive relentless droughts, store itself for months, and help sustain communities in some of the harshest environments on Earth, why would anyone abandon it? Yet that is exactly what happened. The story begins in the deserts of the American Southwest, where a remarkable tree quietly supported human life for thousands of years. Long before industrial sugar, grocery stores, and modern agriculture transformed the landscape, its golden seed pods were gathered, ground into flour, and treasured by indigenous communities who understood its value. Explorers arriving centuries later were astonished by what they found. They described sweet pods that tasted like honey, and communities thriving in environments that seemed almost impossible to inhabit. But then something changed. As modern agriculture expanded, this ancient resource was increasingly viewed as an obstacle rather than an asset. Vast areas were cleared. Traditional knowledge faded. What had once been considered a tree of life became, in many places, a weed. Yet history has a strange habit of resurfacing. Today, researchers, chefs, conservationists, and cultural historians are taking a fresh look at this forgotten tree. And what they're discovering suggests that the people who depended on it for thousands of years may have understood something modern society overlooked. This is the story of Mesquite, and it begins more than 4,000 years ago. Long before highways crossed the Southwest, and long before modern cities rose from the desert, Mesquite was already shaping life across some of North America's driest landscapes. Archaeological evidence suggests that people living in the Sonoran Desert were gathering and storing mesquite seeds at least 4,000 years ago. One remarkable discovery near present-day Tucson, Arizona, revealed clay containers filled with ancient mesquite seeds that had remained preserved for millennia. Even more surprising, some of those seeds were still capable of germinating. That discovery told researchers something important. Ancient communities didn't view mesquite as an occasional food source. They valued it enough to harvest, preserve, and store for future use. Among the ancestors of today's Tohono O'odham people, mesquite became deeply woven into everyday life. In a region where drought was a constant threat and harvests could fail without warning, the tree offered something rare: reliability. Year after year, it produced sweet pods regardless of harsh conditions. Those pods could be gathered, dried, and transformed into flour that remained usable for long periods, creating an important reserve of food during difficult seasons. Farther north and east, other indigenous groups, including the Pima and Yaqui peoples, developed their own traditions centered around mesquite. Although preparation methods varied, a pattern emerged wherever the tree grew. People recognized its value, they recognized its sweetness, and they recognized its ability to provide nourishment when other resources became scarce. Then came the arrival of European explorers. When Spanish travelers crossed these deserts in the 16th century, they encountered thriving communities in landscapes that appeared unforgiving to outsiders. Many accounts express surprise at finding such abundance in such a harsh environment. Again and again, explorers mentioned the sweet pods and the importance of mesquite groves to local communities. To many newcomers, the tree seemed almost miraculous, and perhaps, in some ways it was. For the people who lived alongside mesquite, the tree was far more than a source of sweetness. It was a complete survival system. The most important resource came from its pods. Families gathered them during harvest season, often collecting large quantities before drying and grinding them into a naturally sweet flour. Unlike many foods that spoil quickly, mesquite flour could be stored for months, making it especially valuable in unpredictable desert environments. The flour was mixed with water, baked into cakes, added to traditional foods, and used in countless local recipes. But food was only part of the story. Historical records and indigenous traditions describe the use of other parts of the tree as well. The bark, leaves, sap, and pods all found their way into various cultural practices and traditional preparations. Methods differed from community to community, reflecting generations of observation and experience, rather than a single standardized system. What makes Mesquite particularly remarkable is that almost nothing went to waste. Communities living in challenging environments learned to use every available resource, and mesquite became one of the most versatile plants in the desert. For thousands of years, that relationship endured, but eventually, researchers began asking a question that historians were asking as well. What exactly made this tree so valuable? Was it simply tradition, or was there something unique about mesquite itself? By the late 20th century, scientists had become increasingly interested in crops capable of thriving in dry environments. As drought conditions intensified across parts of the American Southwest, researchers began searching for plants that required little water while still offering meaningful nutritional value. Mesquite quickly stood out. Unlike many conventional crops, it flourished where others struggled. Studies supported by the United States Department of Agriculture examined the nutritional characteristics of mesquite pods and flowers. Researchers found something surprising. Despite growing without irrigation and often receiving little human attention, mesquite produced food with significant nutritional potential. Then scientists turned their attention to the tree's natural sweetness. One of the most intriguing discoveries involved compounds called fructooligosaccharides, often shortened to FOS. These naturally occurring sugars attracted attention because they behave differently from highly refined sugars commonly found in modern foods. Researchers also noted that mesquite flower contains fiber alongside its natural sugars. That combination may help explain something ancient communities had already figured out. Mesquite wasn't simply used as a sweetener, it was used as a staple food. Unlike refined sugar, which contributes sweetness alone, mesquite delivers sweetness as part of a much more complex food source. Scientists also became interested in the broader ecological role of the tree. Mesquite's deep root systems allow it to access water far below the surface, enabling it to survive extreme drought. Those same characteristics help stabilize soil and support surrounding ecosystems. Some ecologists even began describing mesquite as a keystone species, one that plays an outsized role in maintaining environmental balance. The emerging picture was fascinating. Ancient communities valued mesquite because it was dependable. Modern researchers were uncovering scientific reasons that may help explain why. So if mesquite was so useful, why did it nearly disappear from public awareness? The answer lies in the dramatic changes that reshaped the American Southwest during the 19th and 20th centuries. For thousands of years, mesquite fit perfectly within desert ecosystems and the communities that depended on them. But as commercial agriculture expanded, priorities changed. Large-scale farming, cattle ranching, and industrial production transformed vast portions of the landscape. Landowners increasingly viewed mesquite as an obstacle. Its presence competed with grazing land and cultivated fields. As a result, large areas of mesquite woodland were cleared. Trees that had supported generations of people were cut down, burned, or treated as invasive growth. At the same time, industrial sugar became widely available. Mass-produced sweeteners could be transported across great distances and sold cheaply through expanding commercial markets. Foods that once relied on local ingredients gradually gave way to centralized food production. Mesquite flour became less common. Traditional sweeteners were replaced. And another important change was occurring. Traditional knowledge itself was fading. As indigenous communities experienced displacement and cultural disruption, many ancestral food practices became less visible. Knowledge that had once been passed from generation to generation was no longer shared as widely. The tree remained, but much of the understanding surrounding it began to disappear. Ironically, while people were forgetting mesquite's value, the tree itself refused to disappear. Its deep roots allowed it to survive repeated attempts at removal, quietly enduring beneath the desert soil. Although mesquite faded from mainstream attention, it never truly vanished. Across the Southwest, indigenous communities continued harvesting and preparing mesquite using methods preserved through generations. For them, it was never a forgotten discovery. It remained part of living cultural memory. In parts of Arizona and northern Mexico, families still gather ripe pods, dry them, and grind them into flour used in traditional foods. Many elders describe the aroma of roasted mesquite as a reminder of family gatherings, seasonal harvests, and childhood memories. In recent years, interest has expanded beyond those communities. Chefs throughout the Southwest have begun incorporating mesquite flour into breads, desserts, and specialty foods inspired by traditional ingredients. What was once dismissed as an overlooked desert resource is slowly finding its way back into modern kitchens. And the story isn't limited to North America. Related species of mesquite grow in arid regions around the world, including parts of South America, Africa, and Asia. In many of these places, communities have also relied on mesquite for food, animal forage, shade, and environmental restoration. Meanwhile, conservation groups and seed banks have begun preserving traditional mesquite varieties to protect their genetic diversity for future generations. In many ways, mesquite's revival isn't about discovering something new. It's about remembering something ancient. At the beginning of this story, we asked a simple question. How could a food once treasured for thousands of years be forgotten in less than a century? The answer is that it was never truly forgotten. Mesquite survived in indigenous traditions. It survived in ancient seeds, preserved beneath desert soil. It survived in the landscapes where its roots continued, reaching deep into the earth, long after many people stopped paying attention. Its story stretches across 4 millennia. It nourished desert civilizations, impressed explorers, endured waves of agricultural change, and quietly persisted while entire industries rose around it. Modern science has helped explain some of what ancient communities already understood. Researchers have studied its nutritional characteristics, its natural sugars, and its ecological importance. Yet perhaps the most important lesson isn't found in a laboratory. It's found in the fact that generations of people recognized the value of this tree long before modern science arrived to investigate it. Mesquite reminds us that traditional knowledge and scientific discovery are not always opposing forces. Sometimes they are simply two paths leading toward the same understanding. Today, as droughts intensify and societies search for more resilient ways of living, this ancient desert tree offers a message from the past. The answers to some of tomorrow's challenges may not be inventions waiting to be created. They may be wisdom waiting to be remembered. If you enjoy exploring forgotten remedies, traditional foods, and the hidden history of the natural world, subscribe to Nature's Remedy Ledger. Until next time, remember, some of the most remarkable discoveries are not hidden in laboratories. Sometimes they're rooted deep beneath the deserts we thought we understood.